Hello, I'm Erik Christensen from the NLS Norway Relocation Group, and I want to welcome you to this advanced strategic briefing designed specifically for HR directors, talent acquisition leaders, and the chief executive officers to recruit dynamic leadership for their global operations. Today, we must address an invisible behavioral landmine that consistently destroys team morale, paralyzes productivity, and neutralizes your most expensive international leadership hires in the Norwegian market. We call this the feedback freeze. When you recruit a highly effective, decisive leader from a hyper-competitive global hub like New York, London, or Frankfurt, you are usually hiring them for the ability to drive change. In their home markets, these executives have built phenomenal careers utilizing management philosophies like radical candor. They are known for their unflinching directness, their ability to aggressively call out underperformance in real time, and their talent for driving high-pressure teams towards strict quarterly KPIs. Your HR team places this dynamic leader into an Oslo or Stavanger office, expecting them to inject a new level of accountability into the local workforce. However, I'm here to warn you that if your newly relocated executive attempts to deploy this aggressive top-down feedback model on a Norwegian team, they will not drive accountability. Instead, they will instantly shatter the psychological safety of the department, triggering a complete operational shutdown and catastrophic HR liabilities. To understand the feedback freeze, we must decode the fundamental divide in how workplace communication is structured. In Anglo-American corporate cultures, the hierarchy is explicit. The manager is the boss, and critical feedback is often delivered rapidly, decisively, and sometimes publicly to ensure immediate course correction. It is viewed as a necessary, if uncomfortable, engine for professional growth. In Norway, this approach violates the deepest unwritten codes of egalitarian workplace culture. The Norwegian hierarchy is exceptionally flat. A leader is not viewed as an authoritative overlord, but rather as a first among equals, a facilitator whose primary job is to remove obstacles so the team can perform. The core currency of the Norwegian workplace is tillit, or trust. The first major friction point occurs when the foreign executive applies blunt, targeted criticism. When an American or British manager directly and forcefully critiques a Norwegian employee's work, especially if it lacks deep contextual padding or occurs in a group setting, it aggressively triggers the Law of Jante or Janteloven. The Norwegian employee does not perceive this as motivational accountability. They perceive it as a profound personal attack, a breach of professional respect, and outright workplace bullying. Because Norwegian corporate culture is deeply conflict-averse, the employees will rarely push back or argue with the aggressive manager in the moment. Instead, they will initiate the feedback freeze. They will nod politely, leave the room, and completely shut down. The manager assumes the message was received and the problem is fixed. In reality, the employee has lost all tillit trust for that leader. They will begin passively resisting directives, withholding vital operational information, and quietly retreating into their silos. This leads directly into the second and legally perilous phase of the crisis. Norway's Working Environment Act, Arbeidsmiljøloven, explicitly guarantees every employee the right to a safe psychosocial work environment. If a foreign manager continues to use high-pressure, confrontational feedback tactics, the Norwegian employee is fully within their rights to report a toxic work environment. They will visit their fastlege or general practitioner, explain that their new expert boss is creating unmanageable stress, and immediately receive a sykemelding, a paid sick leave. The foreign executive is suddenly left with a decimated team, plummeting QR deliverables, and a formal HR investigation initiated by the local union representative tillit. The global leader feels they are simply doing the job they were hired to do, while the local team feels they are being terrorized by a corporate dictator. Finally, this disconnect completely corrupts the formal review process. Global managers often treat the annual performance review as a courtroom to prosecute underperformance and justify bonus allocations. In Norway, this process is known as the medarbeidersamtale, or employee dialogue. It is legally and culturally designed to be a two-way egalitarian conversation focused on mutual development, well-being, and how the company can better support the employees' work-life balance. When the foreign manager attempts to forcefully dominate this meeting with rigid KPI scoring, the Norwegian employee feels betrayed by the system. At NLS Norway Relocation Group, we help strategic HR departments disarm the feedback freeze through preemptive leadership localization. You cannot simply drop a radical candor executive into a high-trust egalitarian society without deep behavioral translation. We provide mandatory pre-arrival coaching for global leaders on the subtle art of Norwegian communication. We teach them how to implement forankring, consensus building, to course correct teams without triggering defensive walls. We train them to decouple critique from emotion, replacing aggressive accountability with factual, supportive dialogue that honors the psychosocial mandates of the Arbeidsmiljøloven. If you want to your multi-million kroner global leaders to actually lead rather than alienate their teams and trigger mass sick leave, you must equip them with a localized feedback strategy. Please visit our website at nlsnorwayrelocation.no, nlsnorwayrelocation.no, to learn how our advanced executive coaching solutions can protect your top-tier talent from the feedback freeze and ensure a highly productive, legally compliant transition into the Norwegian market. We look forward to partnering with you.